Okay, now I'd like to talk to you a little bit about the business cover letter. And not all applications allow you to put in a cover letter, but if they do, the cover letter is a unique tool that can add to your resume. It can do more than, it can continue to tell the story that where your business resume left off. Okay, so together the two make a great package for selling yourself, for presenting yourself to the potential employer, to make yourself attractive, and hopefully, but the objective here is to get an interview, to hopefully get you into the interview stage. So with regard to format, again, we've posted a cover letter format for you to follow, but generally it's going to be anywhere from 2 to 5 short paragraphs, generally 2 to 4 short paragraphs. You're going to have the date and a date up at the top. Generally, you mark it as cover letter. You don't. Most of the time with cover letters, you don't put the full heading on there the way you similar to the heading on your resume. Rather, you indicate cover letter at the top. You'll put your contact information again down at the bottom, and since it accompanies the resume, it already has some contact information with it. So simply cover line in bold, underline at the top with the date immediately below it. Now the address to the individual who you're writing to and their address goes immediately after that, to the left aligned, and then below that is where you start, dear sir, madam, dear sir, ma'am, to begin the cover letter. And you end with a signature block. I like to align the signature block in the dead center, so you highlight it and slide it to the dead center. So the first letter of the sincerely, truly, truly yours, or whatever you put as your salutation or your ending salute. You slide that to the center of the page and skip a couple of spaces below it and then type your name so you can sign in between it. But sliding it to the center of the page rather than leaving it left aligned makes it more attractive when you put the enclosure, the ENCL colon resume to the left. So you want to continually make reference to your resume. You don't want to ever repeat your resume in the cover letter, but you will make reference to it, and having it again at the very end in the ENCL enclosure again makes reference to it right at the end. Okay, so now for what you're including. Now this is my format that I made up for the cover letter. It's very effective because again, what you're doing here is trying to get to the interview stage. So you're trying to tell a story. So if you look at the resume itself, what it is a snapshot in history. It tells what you did in the past. There's a few other things it does not tell, though, that an employer might be interested in. Number one, why? Why did you do anything you did? Sometimes it's not obvious. You may need to explain how what you did makes you a value proposition. Okay, so let's start with the first paragraph. So if we're working off a 4-paragraph format now, and with a total of, I would say, about 17 to 22 lines total in the entire cover letter, which isn't very long, but broken down in the paragraphs, it looks more structured and organized. So paragraph 1. The first thing, since this is what we call in communications a deductive message, you're deducing the message from the immediate statement. So you make your main statement up front, okay, and then from there you support that statement throughout the rest of the cover letter. So start with what we call the attention getter. That's common parlance in sales messages, but the attention getter simply says what you want, but it says what you want in a way that resonates. I like to give people an example that you can simply say, "Hi, my name's Jason Gordon and I'm applying for the job of accountant." Okay? Well, that's not very captivating. Now, it does tell what you wanted, what you're asking for. A more captivating way to do that may be to say, dear sir, ma'am, after speaking with John Smith in your accounting department, I was very excited to learn about your new staff accountant position. And begin the rest of the cover letter from there. Now, what I've effectively said is, yes, I'm interested in the staff accounting position, but I also mentioned the connection that I made, the individual that I talked to. Now, if you're someone, particularly in HR or in a portion of the business who is reading this, you see someone relevant to the company's name there, and I've made reference that I spoke with them about it. Now, if you're reading that, you're going to make the assumption that this individual might ask you, hey, did you receive Jason's resume? You don't want to say, well, yes, but I didn't read it. Okay, so that alone may convince them to continue to read the rest of the resume. All right, because nobody wants to be caught in that position where, particularly if it's their boss asks them something and they didn't do it. So anyway, techniques like that can get their attention, and in a situation like that can motivate them further to read the whole cover letter and resume thoroughly. So you start off with that attention getter, and then after that, in 3 to 5 lines, well, let me ask this to start with, and this is a rhetorical question, somewhat of a rhetorical question. If I tell somebody I want something, what's a natural question that comes from that person? Why? Right? Why do you want that? Well, I just said I want a job with you. And you say, okay, well, why do you want that job? Well, after the attention getter, you should spend the next 3 to 4 lines explaining something about the company that interests you, right? Whether it's their mission, what they do, their values in the company, how quickly they're growing, their management structure, their incentives, their outlook towards growth, their outlook towards employee-client relations, whatever it is. Generally pick the things that the company itself brags about. So if it's a smaller company, then that's obviously an individual maybe doing the hiring is the individual you're writing to. So in that situation, you want to let them know that you know enough about the company and that you recognize their values. In a larger corporation, those values are probably part of the training with which the individuals that are doing the hiring are indoctrinated. So again, you would impress them to show that you already understand the values of the company. Okay, what it is they care about, or what. So you can visit their website, go to the mission pages, the in the news pages, things like that to learn about the company. So when you're writing this initial paragraph, you can demonstrate, yes, you've done your research, and 2, you know the company, and it makes a great justification for why you want to work there. So again, first paragraph, attention getter, and 3 to 4 lines about why you want to work there, and like I say, work in some of the information that's that they're proud about, their mission statement, etc. Okay, in the second paragraph of cover letters say that you would download offline samples. What you'll see there is basically it's the paragraph where you explain to the employer how your past experiences, training, etc., makes you a value proposition, makes you a good value proposition to the company. Well, you can get some great examples off a line for that, but what a form cover letter can't do is can't tell why about yourself, why you've pursued the things that you've done in the past. Okay, your resume, again, was a snapshot in history. That begs the question, why did you do any of it? Why are you studying business? Why are you concentrating in marketing? Why are you, etc.? Especially people who have compelling stories, say international students or students from unique backgrounds, first generation in college, worked the entire time you were in college, things like that. It gives you the opportunity to explain things about your resume that you need to highlight. Now, you don't want to repeat the resume, you simply make reference to it. As you can see in my resume, I've recently graduated from ABC University. During that time, I worked a full-time job in ABC while studying this. Okay, that's something you're highlighting that you did this. Now, explain why that is relevant or why that's important in a line or two. And you can translate from that why, that history that you want to explain about yourself, into how you will be a value proposition for the company. And what I learned from my experience in sales and whatever has taught me to be dedicated, leadership skills, interacting with individuals, etc. The things that you can rightfully brag about yourself, the skills and abilities that you've acquired in the position. That's where you can start to put that forward. So that's the second paragraph. Now the third paragraph is largely optional, but I like to add it, and I call this the aspiration paragraph, because what you're doing here is you're telling them where you want to go. Okay? Now remember, this is a sales message, so it's a you message. It's always about them. You told them you want a job with them. Why? Because you like them. You tell why about yourself and how that translates into value for them. So now in the third paragraph, what do you aspire to? Pick a position that exists in the company that's within a reasonable reach, 5 to 10 year time frame. Say it's a marketing manager, you're coming for an entry-level marketing position, you want to be a marketing manager or brand manager, and that's on the 5 to 10 year horizon. Well, by mentioning that these are your aspirations, it shows, one, that you understand the structure of the company, two, that they offer what you want out of a career. So you won't be there just a short time, you have something long-term you're working towards or for. Very impressive to the corporation, and it serves those two functions. Then always follow up with humility. Again, flattering the individuals there. You're applying to this company. You want to be like these people to be able to work at this great place. So say something about your willingness or your eagerness to learn and grow from great or consummate professionals. It simply, again, demonstrates humility and shows your eagerness to be a part of a great organization. Flattery will take you places. Don't go overboard, but you understand it does have a solid use. And then the fourth paragraph is just a couple of lines. Thank you for your consideration. I look forward to speaking with you about this further. It's confident but not pushy. And then say, I can be reached at email address or phone number. Thank you. And then, like we said, sincerely with your name sign there. And together you've got the resume, that's a snapshot in history, and then you've got your cover letter, which attention getter and why about yourself and your past and how that translates into value for the company, what you aspire to, you want to learn and grow, thank you, and please contact me. You can see how together it makes a complete sales package, that if you've got the resume in one hand, the cover letter in the other, and you're reading them together, that presents yourself in the best light possible. And for a business resume, that's about as well as you can do.